Good morning, Thursday the 3rd of March. We're going to be doing this lawn today, giving it its second cut of the year. I gave it a cut in January just because it was a bit long, but nothing else. As you can see there, the work we did last week is coming through now. The moss has been controlled over there. It's gone nice and black, ready for another scarify in a few weeks. You can see the ribbon effect now better. So the moss is in the higher bits and the green grass is in the lower bits, so we need to sort that out. But it's coming along nicely, that one. But today we're going to concentrate on this one. It's got some nice colour to it, considering it's had nothing since last year. And again, like at Britain's best lawn or Britain's worst lawn last week, a few weed grasses showing through, which we can treat because we know where they are. So I might just stick a bit of spray paint on those so we know where they are. I'm not going to be cutting them out today because it's too wet. But we do want to get them with that first cut and get a moss treatment on, because we're just getting a bit of moss growing on the edges, and over here is where I wanted to go actually. Just a bit of moss growing over there, and that'll spread. So we want to get that treated. And this is a problematic bit of this garden, so that this year I'm going to dig this patch out and just reseed that. Again, leather jacket damage all the way down here, and we can tell because we've got the holes there where they're coming out of there. So again, we'll have to hope that they're not going to be problematic this year. Loads of worm casts killing me again. So many things that do so much damage and can't do anything about them. Very annoying. So got the mower out already, I've done the other side, and we'll try and get this looking mint again this year. Every year on from when we first did it, nearly 10 years ago next year, so 9 years this year that we reseeded this. Every year it gets harder to get back because every year there's just so many weed grasses creep in. So today we're going to cut it and get the moss treatment on and a bit of rise and shine, and then in a couple of weeks this will be looking a lot better, and then we can maybe think about getting on with some scarifying. And what the feed's going to do is, when we do scarify, it's going to regenerate quicker. So let's get on with the mowing and get the product done. Okay, so that's the first cut done. I'm going to have to hold off on the rise and shine because it's raining quite heavy now, and what'll happen is it'll just stick to the leaf, so I don't want that. So I can still go on with the moss control, so we'll get that on, and a bit of galactic green in there as well as the powdered iron sulfate, just to give us that nitrogen hit, just to give us a bit of growth going forward. So a nice and easy one today, but you've got to start somewhere, and we're starting with this today. So let's get on with that, and I'll show you what I'm going to do. So I'm just about to mix my iron. Now it's very important that when you get your iron sulfate powder that you add the iron sulfate to the water very slowly, just to give it a chance to absorb, and then it'll dissolve. Whereas if we just add the water into the iron sulfate, it just turns into a mushy powder, and then when you put it in your tank, it'll just all sink to the bottom and clog your tank up. So just a nice little tip there. See how it's just dissolving. It's probably sinking to the bottom a little bit, but it's just getting a chance to wet it all the way through, and then when I give it a stir, it'll almost certainly be gone. So there you go. So I'll give that a stir now, add my galactic. Now what I've done there is, I know what my size of my lawns is, 200 square metres I base this on, so I've added 400 grams of iron sulfate there. And then I'll add my galactic green, which will be 800 mils of that, and then that'll be enough to do these two lawns and get them underway. Right, so that's on sprayed. Not much to report back this week. Been a horrible week really. Had a good sunny day, but it was a frosty start, so I couldn't get much done. Today's raining, with a lot of rain. Still very cold, so the grass ain't really growing that much. Usually I'm up and away by now, but this year just a bit slower, and it's very wet underfoot, so I can't really crack on like I would like to. So it's just a case of getting all these first cuts in, and getting the moss treatments down, weed killer if you need. This lawn never really has had any weeds because we started off with a blank canvas. You're not really going to get many weeds in there because there's no seeds in there, so new lawns don't really get weeds in as bad, whereas like the older lawns, which are like 50 years old now, you know, they've got seeds in there from years ago, so they're forever germinating. And I would presume with scarifying that, we're really going to bring a lot of seed up to the surface. I envisage getting a lot more seed up there, and weeds up there this year from them seeds, like I say, we're bringing up to the surface with the Scarify. But we can give it another application with another type of weed killer later on in the year. You can only use weed all once in the calendar year, so just bear that in mind. So that's it from here. Both sides done. I don't believe that side got any right autumn punch last year because I was doing a bit of a test, so you can see the difference in what got fertiliser and what didn't. So hopefully we'll get some nice weather soon and we can crack on. Like I say, we're just building now, getting ready so we can go once that weather allows us to, and get on with some nice seeding. I think I seeded this last year mid-April, so we've got like 6 weeks yet before we get to that point. But if the weather allows us, we'll get on with it a bit sooner. We've got to do a bit of work on the weed grasses on this side, quite a lot of annual meadow grass in there. But I find you can get the big chunks out now where you can see them, but once you've scarified and it dries out, the annual meadow grass shines really white because of the root, which has a white kind of sheath around it, and it's very easy to see. So what I'll do is I'll just crawl up and down, and when I see one of them sheaves of white, I'll just cut that out with a penknife and eradicate it a bit more that way as well. And it does work. It takes a few hours, you get sore knees, but it's worth it. So join me next time, where hopefully we'll have some nice weather and we'll be able to get on with some top dressing and stuff like that. So we'll see you soon. Take care. Bye.